it reminded you, and he talked about the competitive nature of people and the comedians, and when he talked about it, I see that competitiveness everywhere, Vicki. And like I said, this was such a learning lesson for us, this interview, for us to address topics that need to be addressed.
Yes.
Now, one of the things I noticed, if somebody would ask me the theme of humanity, competitiveness will be on top of the list, because competitive causes jealousy, hatred, envy, spite, all types of shit. And what I noticed, Vicki, I've even seen within the spiritual community, conscious community, whatever name you want to call it, a lot of people's master teachers, what they call master, they got a lot of competitiveness, and I seen it almost ruin them. I don't interview everybody. I've seen everything.
I'm sure you have. I'm sure.
One of the biggest problems I've noticed with the quote unquote master teachers is their competitiveness with other teachers. When they feel like their teaching is being threatened by another teacher's teaching, then you start to see the humanity, the lower nature come out of them. So I'm wondering, and these are brilliant brothers. These are brothers that'll tell you about the size of the earth, the moon, the cosmos, this and that. But when that competitiveness comes out, when somebody that's involved in their field is doing what they're doing, and Cat Williams talked about that with Steve and Cedric and and everybody. And I don't know what level of it is truth, but I've seen it over and over again in life. So how do you think? I think that's something else we can learn moving forward in this age of Aquarius. What is it going to take to get rid of us constantly? And we do that a lot with social media. Vicki, what is it going to take for us to stop competing with each other and let people do people, and we just focus on what we got to do, Vicki? How are we going to move forward?
Such an excellent question. Of course, you are excellent. I always say that about Brother Rich. Brother Rich is going to ask the best questions. It's such a powerful question. And this is very important. Without me getting into too much detail, years ago when I was brought onto a certain platform, I hadn't been with the platform very long, and I was already asked to train some of the other contributors.
Right.
And I thought, well, I had never really sat down and did a methodical, formula for what, Vicki does. This was literally a gift, and I always follow my intuition, my spiritual gifts. That's what really gives me the edge. But more than that, I would say what's going to help with this issue, I'm saying that was normal in that environment, is why I'm bringing this up. And somebody would send me some information on this, that, and the third on someone else and act like this was being said and wanted my response on that. And behind the scenes, people were trying to gin up stuff, and they were trying to put stuff in your head. You understand what I'm saying? To make you think, oh, they said so-and-so, they did this, that, and the third. And this is what I found out was being done concerning me. When there were new rules that were being made, I didn't know they was making the new rules because Vicki was and the people was calling the owner saying stuff that was just a lie, Brother Rich.
Yeah.
That I didn't even, you understand? So I was just like, but I thought, dang, this weird. This is a new rule. Why we doing? But I didn't realize that I was the reason why they created all these new rules and regulations. So there was some drama going on. So that's an environment that's an energy you can get sucked into. And so when I would see and notice certain ones that would try to get in your ear to cause you to move in that same type of energy, and to be honest, certain ones wanted you to move in that energy because they were using, I'm going to be honest, I was being used one time to put pressure. You understand what I'm saying? On other people, you're going to have to rise up now and come and rise to this level right here to take the whole thing because look how she's coming. Some people are talking about good competition and this kind of stuff, but I'm not going to really even get into that because that's not really what we're talking about, right now. What's important, Brother Rich, and this is what I live by, and this is what I stick to, and this is what would help us, because that jealousy stuff is a very deadly and dangerous thing. Let me tell you what one must do. Know thyself.
Yes.
You have to be so absorbed, Brother Rich. Your spiritual rituals, your private, silent, quiet meditation time, your observation and reflection and knowledge about who you are, and then you operating in that thing on a consistent basis, that's what's going to keep you doing what you were uniquely created to do. You understand? That's very important. So that way, when you're driving in your lane and some other car comes along in a violent way that just maybe try to forces you to swerve into another lane, you understand what I'm saying? And start to do some weird stuff, or you see somebody trying to rev up their engine, so they want you to rev up your engine. They want to, that's them hitting at you. We want, let's compete, let's do this. You being so clear about your purpose, you being so acquainted with your inner divinity and your supernatural family and your contract with the planet, you got to spend a lot of quiet time, because that's the thing that's going to be your most the thing that you focus on the most. That's what you're going to act out and live out the most, right? The thing that's foremost in your brain. I so know who I am. I'm so clear, Brother Rich, on my purpose. And to be honest with you, one of the beauties of having supernatural living and going in between dimensions, because that ought to be our norm. When I'm talking about miracles, when I'm talking about supernatural, I'm talking about the real us. Yeah. We're meant to be that. When you're operating in that thing more often, you understand your bigness. You understand and you grow in rank and on dimensions that's not just limited to earth. So it kind of keeps you in line, if I'm being real. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for those supernatural encounters, having an understanding of who you are, being very clear on your purpose, and also honing your particular skills and experts and gifts, because that's what you're spending a lot of your time on, and being intentional about appreciating the rest of the body. You know, there's an analogy that's often used about how the body functions. And the eye is not competing with the toenail.
Facts.
The nose is not tripping with the hair follicle.
Right.
Understand? And the fingernail. This is important.
Very, yes.
We understand that. And I'm going to say something else to you. I'm going to give you an analogy. And it may seem like a simple analogy, because sometimes when we see other people and how they operate and what they're operating in, it seems to be more glamorous, or we want to get a particular result. So we think that we've got to do it that way. If I want to be wealthy, if I want to be well off, if I want to be this, I got to do it this way. Really quick, my dog passed a year or two ago now. He was a Westie. He lived to be very old, and he was one of my greatest teachers, and I never wanted a dog. He was a gift for me. He was a gift to me. He was one of my greatest teachers for many reasons, but as a Westie, his history, his lineage, even from Scotland, was that the kings used to keep them in their palaces because they were really good, because they're a type of terrier. They were really good at catching mice and keeping, I love that the sun doesn't compete with the moon, and keeping mice and rodents out, right? So that's why the kings, they were always in palaces. So my Westie, one time, at one of my houses we moved into, he was outside and he always had a beef with squirrels. And for the longest time, I thought he was the one that was instigating the drama, but I realized later that it was actually the squirrels that was instigating drama with some of their calls and screeches that they would do to mess with him. So he went outside one time, and guess what my Westie was trying to do, Brother Rich?
What?
He was trying to climb a tree like the squirrel.
Oh, man.
Brother Rich, the Westie.
Yeah.
So when I let him out, he said, I'm going to get him. So he tried to climb the tree, Brother Rich, on multiple occasions, Brother Rich.
Oh, man.
He came to the conclusion in himself, this ain't meant to be.
This ain't for me, huh? This ain't for me.
But I want to get this squirrel.
Right.
Because I'm a terrier, and something genetically in me lets me know I'm good at getting rodents, but I can't climb this tree. Guess what he did after some time, Brother Rich? This Westie kept his distance on the other side of the fence. He laid low on all fours. Never seen him do this before. Kept his head low to the ground and watched the movement of the squirrel. Guess what he did?
What?
He waited for the squirrel to come down. Y'all ain't listening. The squirrel made a mistake. He didn't just come down from the tree. Guess what the squirrel did? What? The squirrel jumped from the tree to the other side of the fence. Kingdom said, that's where you messed up. Slowly, he made his way, my dog, to the other side of the fence. I watched this whole thing and I couldn't believe it. He made his way to the other side of the fence because a squirrel messed up and got on the fence. He used his paws and shook the fence, Brother Rich. And guess what happened?
What?
Guess what happened?
What happened? The
squirrel fell down.
Yeah. Uh-huh. I thought so.
And guess what my Westie did?
What?
He played with him to death. And we had ashes to ashes and dust to dust because he took him out and he did what a terrier did. I brought that up because I'm trying to let you know that it wasn't in his makeup to climb trees or to fly. That wasn't his makeup. But he found a way to manifest destiny, his unique way, and brought him down to him. So I'm just trying to bring that up in a strange way to let you know that your gifts and your skills and the way in which you do things doesn't have to be like everybody else, and stop trying. Take a little time to meditate like my dog did and figure out how can you accomplish your unique purpose, your unique destiny,
right,
in the way in which you were created to do it. That's very important. And so I think that when you become so preoccupied with who you are, some people may call it craziness, obsession with yourself, self-love or whatever, but when you become that, and for me, my encounters with the supernatural is what made me just relentless. And I've said this for a long time, for years, that I'm famous in the heavenlies. And I said that because of a trance I was in. And because I was permitted to participate in the high-level council, where high-level spiritual entities were engaged in legal proceedings. And the one that was sitting on the throne moved the messengers to the side and said, "I think I hear Vicki calling." That happened after I was in an intense meditation for 3 hours. And it was time for me to bring it down. And when I brought it down, I went into a trance. And when I came to, when I opened up the book, I went to a particular story with a scene of a court setting that was exactly what took place. And so those types of things make you know who you are. That's what's important, to figure out who you are and spend more time on focusing on your destiny, your unique skills, and be intentional about showing appreciation for the rest of the body. You understand? The eye is not competing with the nose. The tooth isn't competing with the chest. Understand that we're the body, and they all have their unique function. So that's what we have to do. You have to be very intentional about it. But most importantly, understand, know, love, and appreciate who you are, and be about the living of that purpose, so that you're not trying to compete with somebody else. That's really what an autoimmune issue is when your immune system is fighting against your own body. I know something about that, and it's very dangerous.
Wow, it's interesting you say that. The body, the autoimmune thing, I guess, okay, yeah, that's interesting.
It is. That's exactly what it does when it attacks itself.
Yeah. You know, he mentioned other comedians. I remember years ago, this might have been about 10 years ago, I was interviewing Professor Griff, and we were talking about something that happened in pop culture. And one of the things that was said by Steve Harvey at the time was, he was telling another I think a young black kid or something like that, he was telling them that your kids can't eat integrity. He was telling them about integrity. Do you remember when he said that? He said your kids can't eat integrity.
Wow.
In other words, F integrity, that ain't gonna bring no money to the table. What we seen with Cat Williams and what the people liked about it, with the 18 million views in 2 days, they seen the integrity, they seen the truth telling, they seen him standing up to things and not being afraid to say things that majority of the celebrities are not saying, and the people loved it. And the people responded by him getting 18 million views. I mean, people would. You talking about people will do anything to get that amount of views. The shit people do to get those views, he got it by standing on his square. With that being said, Vicki, do you think people will finally? Do you think this is the era where people will finally understand that maybe money can't buy you the happiness they once thought it could buy you, and maybe finally standing on your square about something you believe in, maybe that might be more cooler than it was in the last decade or two?
I love that.
Yeah,
Brother Rich, I love that. The biggest thing, I won't answer the question really like that, I'm going to give you what I believe is a type of solution in terms of a perspective and a manner in which we, I believe, ought to live. And that is turn your house into a headquarters. Understand who you are and your expansiveness. I can't overemphasize what proper, I teach my students this often, and I remind them of this. The word ritual is in the word spiritual, right? That's how powerful rituals are. You can't even be a true spiritual. There are benefits and advantages. You get a certain type of edge. The word ritual is in the word spiritual. You can't be an effective spiritual without effective rituals. And I teach my students that rituals are the blueprint for creating things. What is a blueprint, right? When you look at an architect before they build the building, they're obsessive, yes, with making sure that the drawing is accurate first.
Right.
For them, the drawing is the building. This is it. Watch this. When they go get funding, before they go get funding, right? Before they get the contractors, before they get the contract, right? Before they get what you would call the manifestation of the thing, right? Before they get the end result, you can't tell him nothing. Once they do their blueprint, this is the skyscraper. That's exactly how I like to write it. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, Kimberly. This is important. Why am I bringing up this? When you tap into the unseen parts of yourself, dear brother, and can I give you a parable? One of the spiritual parables that we're taught, that the ascended master taught, that is, we learned this in Bible school too, Matthew 6. It says, go into your secret closet, shut the door behind you when you get ready to pray. Specifically, it says. And it says that the God who is invisible, or the God who is in secret, will reward you openly. Did you hear what I said? Go into your secret prayer room, closet, chambers. Shut the door behind you. I'm answering your question. And the divine, who is in the invisible and the unseen, hangs out there. Do your rituals in the darkness. And guess what's going to happen? What? It ain't going to stay in the dark and quiet and secret long, because it says it's going to reward you what? Openly. In a time where we're made to believe that a certain type of fame and fortune is the only thing to live for, let me tell you, go dark, go dark, go dark, go dark, go quiet, go spiritual. And guess what? It won't stay that way long. Be willing to be quiet long enough. Be willing to do the right thing in secret long enough. And just like when you drop the seed into the ground, Brother Rich, in the blackness, when you drop the seed into the blackness, into the womb of the ground, it's invisible to you at that point, right? That's the spiritual realm once the seed is dropped. You know how people say the seed in the apple is the apple? I don't believe that. I don't believe any seed is the actual fruit or vegetable. I believe that the seed is the instructions. So when you drop the seed of the apple into the ground, it's giving the earth instructions on what to make. So when you drop that thing into the ground, your prayers is the seed. You get it? Your meditations, your affirmations, your rituals, your mantras, whatever your spiritual ritual is, your 5 times a day prayer if you're Muslim, you know what I'm saying? Your rosary beads if you're Catholic, talk black to me. If you're Vedic, come on now. Your mantras, everything else that you do. Or if you're just doing your affirmations or whatever it is that you do, the thing that you do in secret, it says close the door. It says the way the spirit realm works is to first hush. To go occult is to go quiet. And as one of the ancient elders taught us, the word occult, you can see ocular, things that relate to the eyes in the word occult, right? But you also can see the connection with the word culture. The occult is about a hidden culture, an unseen world and reality. That's the one that you've got to get acquainted with. And that's going to take a little bit of discipline and reverse engineering for you to deal with. You've got to be, there's going to be an itch for you to get out there first, be seen first, be honored first. But that's not how it works. So I'm saying you train yourself, you see, to do the opposite. And when you do the right thing long enough, you put your spiritual body in a way that you put your muscles. What is it called? Muscle memory. Yes. There's some things that you start to do automatically when you do the right thing long enough. You understand?
You on it. You on it, Vicki. You on it.
So you have to train yourself in that spiritually so that you can begin to move into that. And as I've taught for years, what you frequent, the thing that you do often, you set spiritually a frequency. This is important. Why am I bringing that up in the context of what you just said about fame and your question about him holding his integrity? Yes. You can do that when you do it right spiritually. Because guess what's going to happen? Guess what another mystic told us? What? Your gifts make room for you and bring you before the great. You create with your spiritual blueprint. So that way you don't have to compromise. You don't have to lose your integrity. You understand? Because you're doing it the